Okay, so we're going to talk real quick about the plank row and how to do it prescribed and then how to scale it. So those of you that struggle with holding that plank and actually doing the rows, we'll talk about going to the knees. And then if you can't do it from the knees, we'll talk about going, pushing up against a wall or a bench or anything like that, just to kind of get the most out of this movement. So first thing is kind of the RX version, the prescribed version, the way that we want you to do it to get the most out of it. Is going to be on the toes, okay? What we want on these is a wide stance with the feet. You're not going to be able to do this with real narrow feet. You're going to have to pull those feet out wider to create a better base, okay? When we do these rows, the arm that's not rowing is going to be locked out, okay? So we're pushing through the shoulder, nice and locked out in the elbow. Well, the arm that we are rowing with, we're not pulling straight up, okay? So notice here how my elbow is way above the plane of my back. We want more of a sweeping motion, okay? So we want to keep the elbow and the tricep in line with the plane of the back, if that makes sense. We don't want to come straight up. We want to sweep, okay? So I've got my wide stance on my feet. As you can see, your butt's going to come up a little bit. That's okay. All right, keeping those dumbbells pretty tight together, and we're going to sweep back, all right? Sweep back. Not a pull up, but we're sweeping back. Same thing on the other side. Sweep, 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 okay? So we're hitting that oblique. The meat part of that back is what we're looking for there. Again, not a pull up, but a sweep back. We're trying to keep the elbow and the tricep in the same plane as the back. Boom, right there, okay? So we're almost taking that dumbbell down to the hips as opposed to up into the chest. So it's probably an easier way to think of it. Pull the dumbbell to the hips as opposed to pulling it up. We've got our nice wide stance, okay? If we can't do that from a plank position on our toes with that wide foot stance, we're gonna do it from the knees. Same thing, okay? Bringing the knees back, get you a little bit of a wider base, and same thing, sweep, 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 okay? Be a lot less on the core, obviously, a little bit easier to do, okay? But upper body, same principles apply, okay? We're taking the elbow, we're taking the dumbbell and pulling it back towards the hips every time, back towards the hips, okay? So do it on your knees. If doing it on your toes is a little bit harder, nothing wrong with that. You're still gonna get the same work in the upper body. The benefit will just be that you're not gonna get, the benefit of the plank row being on your toes, you're gonna get a lot more core. And then on the knees, obviously you're not gonna get quite as much core, but you're still gonna engage that core some, okay? So we take it from the toes, sweeping back, to the knees, sweeping back. If we can't do that, okay, we can do it standing. Okay, so we've got a nice flat back, slight lean forward, and we're just gonna sweep back, sweep back, sweep back. Again, taking the dumbbell from out in front into the hips and out, and into the hips and out. Okay, same thing on the other arm, sweep back, sweep back. So we're thinking about putting the dumbbell out in front and then sweeping it back into the hips. No matter what version we're doing, we're always going back into the hips with the dumbbell, okay? So keep that in mind when you're rowing. We're not pulling it up into the chest. We don't want the dumbbell touching the chest. We want the dumbbell coming back into the hips so that our elbow and our tricep stays nice and level with our back, okay? So those are the three variations, whichever one works best for you. If you have to start kind of the standing version with the sweep back, and then we can slowly build our way back. Most of us should be able to do it at least on the knees. If you can do it on the knees, that's kind of where we want to start. If that's not an option, we go to the standing version, but the ultimate goal is to kind of bump up into the on the toe version where we're holding that good plank, okay? So try your variations, give it a try, see how it goes, and try to at least do the on the knee version.